Hello and welcome everyone to our another episode of Java programming with complete data structures and algorithms. In our last episode, we saw the flowcharts and pseudocode. In this episode, we will discuss how does the program execution works in Java programming. Let's try to understand it. So we already have discussed and we already have understand the reason behind it also. So what I can say, we already have discussed that computer only understands the machine language. And this machine language is nothing but a series of zeros and ones. As a human, we can't understand it so easily. It's a very complex in nature if I have to write a series of statements. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a human readable language. Whatever instruction we want to pass, we are going to write it into a human readable language. And at the end, the machine will convert it into zeros and ones, which are called machine code. They are also known as machine code. Correct? Now, how does this exact execution works in Java programming? So, Java programming follows here. You are going to see the same stuff. Java programming follows a series of execution steps. A very simple execution is not there. So we need to understand it. It will help us to understand the flow. I will go with the step one. Step one is we will write the Java code, all the code that we are going to write. So we will write this Java code into a .java file. Very important. Where do we write? We write into a .java file. For example, if you see, we write the .txt file. Yeah, we write the things here in our notepad in .txt file. Whatever do we write it into a .txt file. Similarly, for the Java programming, we write it in a .java file. This is also known as source code. You can simply call it as source code. Step 2. So now behind the scene, there is another guy. So behind the scene, this guy will come into picture. There is a software. So there is a software behind the scene which is called Java compiler. Behind the scene, there is a software which is called Java compiler. Correct? What it does, this Java compiler converts the .java file into a bytecode. Convert it into a bytecode. What is bytecode now? So we can call this bytecode as an intermediate step. A bytecode is a intermediate product of Java execution. What is the benefit of having this bytecode? The benefit of this bytecode is it can be executed anywhere on any operating system. This is a very important stuff. I will discuss that part. But right now, step 2 is there where we convert our Java file into a bytecode. Step 3 is then we should go for the step 3. So another software comes into picture here. This software we call them as interpreter. Yes, so interpreter is there. What interpreter will do? So interpreter will convert this dot bytecode into machine code, that is zeros and one, using JVM. Very important thing, also known as Java Virtual Machine. This interpreter is going to convert your dot bytecode into a machine code using Java Virtual Machine. That is a very important stuff, right? So the three steps process is like this way. I can write it. We write the normal programming code into a .java file. So .java code gets converted into a bytecode. This bytecode can be executed on any operating system. And then this bytecode is converted into machine code using Java Virtual Machine. So this series of steps follow total three steps which can be executed anywhere, right? Which can be executed anywhere. Another interview question you might face in your life is, how does Java is platform independent? We always hear this, platform independent. This is another interview question you might face in your career. So the thing is here, I said this bytecode can be executed anywhere on any operating system. So let me explain this part. Most of the programming languages like C and C++ follows the traditional way of programming, traditional approach, and they convert the source code, the .java here we have written, this is what our source code is. They directly convert the source code into machine code, or better I should say source code into a .exe file, which is completely platform dependent. So I can take this .exe file into any other operating system and I cannot use it. For example, let me explain it. Say I executed this on my Windows operating system, Windows, and having my computer A, let's say computer A I'm writing. So if I just try to take it this .exe file into a Mac OS operating system, let's name it computer B, it will not work here. So it is not going to work here. To work here. This will not work here because this .exe file is platform dependent. It will only work on this Windows computer A. But this bytecode, so but in case of Java, we get the bytecode from the compiler, and this bytecode can be executed on any operating system using Java Virtual Machine to convert it into machine code, that is series of zeros and ones. Again, Java is platform independent because the bytecode can be executed anywhere, independent because this bytecode can be executed anywhere. But very important, Java Virtual Machine is not platform independent. Is not platform independent. That is, for Windows, I need to install Windows JVM, and for Mac, I need to install Magzabian. That is important. That's why if somebody is going to ask you how Java is platform independent, you will say this, and JVM is not platform independent. Correct? So that is all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. We will continue from the next part.